What's up, Seth? Welcome back to the shop. I want to show you my tools. I want to show you everything that I've got to work with so far. A little foreshadowing, it's not much. So there are a couple like knickknacks that are, in the garage elsewhere, but most of what I'm going to be using for, these videos and these projects is right here. It's like right behind me. And then like a couple of hand tools that I probably won't use too much, like this handsaw that I got for a one-off project for Sammy. Based on what I've been seeing and the core principle behind woodwork, I think I can accomplish a lot of simple projects with what I have here until I can save up and kind of invest in more tools for the shop. So here's just like a quick inventory of what I got to work with. Okay, so these are my cordless drill and impact driver set. I've used them for so many just around the house projects, including building a baby crib, installing a TV mount, all kinds of little things, installing this wall control pegboard. Great first thing to have as far as like building a tool set goes in your shop. I'm going to use them for almost every project, I imagine, outside of some crazy things later when I get into doing more, fancy joinery. So these are the attachments that I got for the drill and impact driver. They're fairly straightforward, nothing's too crazy here. Some drill bits that I'm going to be using probably all of the time until I can get something a little bit more stable, like a drill press or something like that, like a stand-up drill press. But in the meantime, when I'm using my drill in the shop, I'm going to be using these bits. I'm going to expand on them a little bit. I know I need to get something like a Forstner bit and a few other things. I don't plan on doing too much pocket joinery as of now. Don't hold me to that, because I'd probably change my mind at some point. I've changed my mind 500 different times already, but these are going to come in handy. So next up are these handsaw and chisel that I got. The handsaw was like $15, maybe $20. The chisel was even less, maybe like $8. It's the only chisel that I have right now, and seeing how much chisels are used in woodworking from my research and my reading and my watching YouTube videos, I know that it's something I need to invest in soon. It's probably going to be one of the first things that I buy to kind of supplement this mini workshop, but that chisel has been useful for all kinds of different things, which is wild. I bought these two things because I thought they were going to be, other than some wood screws and drill bits, the only things that I really needed to build my first project, which was this cross that I made for Sammy. I don't think I have a picture of it. If I do, I'll put it here somewhere, but I probably don't. So anyway, moving on. The saw isn't very good. I think I wore it out just in that one project. The chisel, I thought I wore out, but I've mentioned that I've used it for multiple projects since. I actually used it the other day when I was fixing our dryer to get melted plastic off of a flywheel in a ball bearing. So it has many uses. I probably won't be using my woodworking chisels for around the house things like that, but this might be my new go-to like everything chisel. Okay, next up is this kind of chonky hammer. I won't be eventually. This is another thing that I'm gonna have to replace, right? A lot of woodworking uses hammer-like implements, but it's usually a mallet. If I'm gonna smack two pieces of wood together, I'm not really gonna use a hammer like this. I'm gonna use a woodworking mallet. They're not super expensive, so I'll probably be buying one very shortly. But in the meantime, if I need to, I can use another piece of wood as kind of like a buffer between my workpiece and this hammer. So it will suffice for now. It's something that I will use maybe for my first project and the second project, but other than that, it's just my hammer to have around the house. Okay, next up is clamps. You'll notice that I have the baby clamps there. Those ones are the ones that you gave me. Thank you. And also the other clamps that I have, the C clamps, those are also a gift. I'm going to be getting a ton of clamps. A rule of thumb that I keep hearing in woodworking is you can never have enough clamps. I believe that's probably right. But what I need to get as far as my next clamps go are probably some pipe clamps, some F clamps, and probably some quick clamps as well. I don't necessarily need those, but I like them, and I like the feel of them. I've used them before, so I'm probably going to implement those when I'm doing any glue ups that are sort of smaller. I need the pipe clamps for the bigger glue ups, and I'll use F clamps for that as well. Okay, so this circular saw runs on the same battery packs as my drill and impact driver, which is great. This is really going to be a cornerstone of my shop. I don't have a table saw, I don't have a miter saw, so in order to make any cross cuts, miter cuts, anything like that, anything on an angle, anything at the end of a 2x4, I'm going to be using the circular saw. I can get a little bit clever with it. I've learned a couple tricks, but yeah, this is going to be it for right now, so I just need to keep it in tip-top shape, get some new blades for it. I only have the one that came in the kit so far. Okay, so this is my random orbital sander. I also have these sanding discs that go with it. I've got 80 and 120 so far. The next one I'm going to buy is probably a 220 so that I can kind of stage up on all of my projects. I'll obviously get many more sanding discs in grits that are in between those, but I'm just going to start with the 3 for right now and kind of see where that takes me in my first few projects. Yeah, so I made this joke about how I needed wood glue, and for Christmas I just wanted gallons of wood glue and that was it. And I guess it was taken somewhat literally because I got a gallon of wood glue. It's gonna last me forever. I'm jazzed to have it. I've got a glue bot in the Amazon cart, but for now that's a perfect place to start. It's a Type Bond 3. It's gonna be useful for just about every project I start with. And then also I picked up this little tip from Steve Ramsey at Woodworking for Mere Mortals. I've been watching a ton of his videos, and he said that he uses basting brushes to spread wood glue on his material because they clean up easy and they're super cheap, and if you lose one, it's not a huge deal. So I went and bought 3 of these Betty Crocker basting brushes from the dollar store. I'm going to see how they work. Okay, now on to one of my favorite parts and one of my newest additions to the shop, and really the thing that's going to tie it all together. I really need a workspace because this little table back here isn't really going to cut it for very long. It's not going to do much in terms of providing a good space for me to work on. It's not great. So what I have are these sawhorses. They're tough-built sawhorses. They're also kind of touted as a job site table. Their capacity is about 1,300 pounds each, so altogether I can do just over a ton. I can do 2,600. And they have these supports for cutting 2x4s. They have these down here to help with cutting sheet goods. So if I wanted to lay a piece of plywood across up here, I can just rip it with my saw. Sheet of plywood across like this, and it's going to work great. And you might be thinking, like, you don't really have support for that with these, but I will when I get some 2x4s that fit nicely in these slots. This is a 2x6, so it's a little bit raised up, but you get my point. So I put one here, I put one there. I'm going to lay a sheet of 2x4, or not 2x4, a sheet of plywood across, and that'll be my workbench for right now. Yeah, that's it. I mean, I've got some other tools that don't really fit into the woodworking space, but as far as what I'm going to be using for this shop, this is probably all going to change inside the next 2 or 3 months. I plan on getting so many more tools and little knickknacks here and there, but I am on a budget, so I'm going to try to keep it to only the necessary things for the projects that I have upcoming. So I'll buy tools whenever I need them for a new project. If I think I can't really complete it up to the standard that I'm going to set for myself, then I'll get something new to help, supplement and help build something properly. Yeah, everything here that I have so far should be enough to accomplish at least some small projects. Okay, so that's basically everything. That's the whole shop. That's all my tools. There's still a few things like clamps that I need to get, but that's going to be my start. I'm going to get that plywood. I'm going to clamp everything down. I'm going to start procuring all of my lumber that I'm going to need for my first few builds, which I think I might start with a shop stool. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've got any recommendations for other things that I'm going to need to get before I get started. See you.